Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2884. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and Mike Hawk.
Montgomery!
And you are in the men's room. On tap today, Ryan Castle's A Drunken Charge is into sit and spin now. Today, science says these are the 10 worst albums of all times. What you don't need to know, the Job Training Edition. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, a men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV time with Ted.
Clap, clap, drinking and drunk.
All right, here we go to Los Angeles, where police are looking for a man who slapped a 4-year-old hippo's ass. Meanwhile, a Mississippi man is now talking about an alien abduction 45 years ago, and a polygraph he did pass. Deputies help woman stranded on giant inflatable unicorn on a lake. An angry woman blasted the same opera song for 16 years for her neighbor's sake. And a man argues with wife, so a man flies plane into their home. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, there's the old saying, loose lips sink ships. Or for the social media generation, posting pictures of yourself committing a crime will land you in jail. Now, that said, almost everyone I know has committed a crime to some degree. And if not a crime, they've at least done something they don't want or need anyone else to know about. Hell, growing up, my brother and I, we probably could have had each other written out of the family will, so to speak, if we'd ratted each other out to our parents. But most of the time, we decided that parents just didn't need to know. And actually, there's a new survey, and it just asked if you would turn a family member in for a crime. And then they provided 10 crimes to choose from, everything from shoplifting to murder. And some of the results will probably surprise you. But it got us thinking about all the dirty things we know a family member or members has done through the course of time. Sometimes as children, sometimes as an adult. But it was just kind of agreed, let's just keep it quiet. So today, this is what we want to know. And just be honest. Doesn't matter to us. What happened that you did not tell your parents at the time?
Be a part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. You can like The Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to themensroom at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitch, hola. You have entered the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2884. What a largely charged program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat as the drunken charge Ryan Castle will be in the house to sit and spin. And today, science says, critics say there's a bunch of formulas that they put together and they determined the 10 worst albums of all times.
Do you know what this formula is, or is Castle going to explain this to us?
He's going to explain it as far as there's a critic score.
Right.
There is a listener score. There's a sales part of that as far as units sold.
So it's almost like Rotten Tomatoes, like an aggregate score of no one liked this crap.
And then there's the subjective stuff in there as well,
Sure.
and just comments from various critics and everything else. But some of the list itself is of 41. There were 41 altogether. We've nailed it down to 10 that you basically know, based on the fact that a lot of these albums are so obscure, the bands are so weird.
Sure.
You just wouldn't even know what a half of them are. But these are the ones from artists that you know.
Okay.
And albums that you probably remember. And
or own.
Yeah, and they're the 10 worst albums of all times, coming up with the drunken charge and sit and spin. What you don't need to know today is about things that you wouldn't believe that you need to know in certain jobs. Okay. So certain jobs have certain requirements that you would never believe. They're just bizarre things that on an everyday basis you wouldn't think that'd be necessary to be trained on. But apparently it is.
And I guess they'll explain why professions need to know.
Firefighters, there's a whole group of people who are trained in some really, really weird and bizarre stuff that they need to know how to do. Ted, believe it or not, there's something that if you are a prostitute in Nevada,
all right,
you need to be trained on a very specific thing.
Probably CPR.
You're pretty close.
Yeah,
you're pretty close.
People getting that heart rate up.
You're pretty close, and that's what it is. It's just
that would suck, man. I mean, I can understand why.
Okay, but look, logic doesn't always work. All right, how many restaurants did you work in? Say 10.
I don't know, something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Did they ever teach anybody how to prevent someone? They ever teach the Heimlich to the staff?
Not that I know of.
But that would be a good idea.
But that makes a little more sense. I'm not having sex with you and you're dying. It's like, right. That's a good point. No, I mean, maybe somebody knew it, but it's one of those things that if it were happening, you'd have to ask.
You'd hope somebody.
Does anyone know the Heimlich? I'm like, I don't know.
And you hope somebody does, but that's the kind of thing we've got coming up with.
Strong point.
What you don't need to know. We will drink and toast with a shot of the day and profile this coming up. And today we're going to talk about things that you did that maybe you waited a little while to tell your parents about, or maybe you just decided that it was probably a good idea that they never found out one way or the other.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and I won't go through the whole thing, but it involves the kidnapping. But just know, my parents basically came home, and there were many, many things that they were exceptionally angry at me about, right? Mm-hmm. And I got in much trouble. But the one thing I realized is they don't know the felony that was committed, in that the fact, like 15 hours ago, there was some kidnapped victim in a closet in this home. So my thought was, do you just tell them now, like, hey, man, get it because they're already angry? Or do you say, you know what? Let me just keep this to myself. And I decided I'm going to keep this to myself.
Yeah.
No matter what else I'm getting in trouble, like, I'm not going to say anything.
I try to think, I think that, we didn't do that much. And then I'm like,
you did.
Yeah, we
yes,
did. We
did.
We did a lot of terrible stuff.
You don't remember a lot of it because you didn't get in trouble, and you didn't get in trouble because you didn't tell anybody.
I do specifically remember, and this was kind of the double whammy. It was, we were partying. It was a weeknight. Had a loud party. The cops just drove through that neighborhood all the time because that's where young kids lived.
Sure.
That's where the parties happen. They come through that area. They tell us to turn the music down. They walk in. There's a big bong on the table. Everything that. But the one thing, man, that they were just, and you could see the two officers kind of looking at each other. When you think about it, we had all these stolen street signs, and they were basically the art of our apartment. We had a stop sign. You drive by these signs, and until you get up there with a wrench, you don't know how big they are. You don't know how heavy they are.
They're massive.
They are a lot bigger than you think. So, and we had them. I mean,
How many did you have?
Well, like
roughly.
The prized possession was a deer in the area sign, which is a yellow. It looks they put it up like a diamond.
Yeah, the yellow guy with the deer running.
Right, the deer's in it. But this thing had been shot out by people trying to get their sights right. So hunters and stuff at 3:00 in the morning, they'll sit there and they'll pull over, man, and they'll get their sights right on their gun, and they'll just shoot the sign. So we had one that was completely lit up. Like, basically, the deer was completely shot out the middle of it. They never replaced the sign. That was a good one. Stop sign was good.
High Street.
We had two signs. We had Main Street, which was Main Street. That was right downtown. We had one guy's name. We stole one of his last name.
I always consider stealing a sign if I see my name.
But they
have you ever done it?
No.
Either have I, but
it's high. It's higher than you think it is.
And supposedly, sometimes you got to boost people up there.
You do.
They don't just pop off.
No, they don't. And there's a big ass screw in there, man. It's long. It's a long time to get that nut off. I mean, you really need the right time. The right time to do this is like between 3:30 and 4.
Right, exactly the time you think it is.
Right in between the last drunk coming home, you know what I mean, and the last person who's going to get up and has that really early shift. That's the way it was in West Virginia. So that was the time we did it. Anyway, so the cops said, guys, where are all these signs from? And
what signs?
And we're like, oh my God, the signs.
They're from God.
The signs, all God. So then, so the guy writes up a report. He's like, we'll be back tomorrow. So sure enough, it was like 8:00 in the morning. Different officer this time comes, and they have one of those signs. They have one of those trucks that has the blinking lights.
Yeah.
Like the road worker. And they came in, man, and they took all the signs out of the house. It was just, and we didn't get a ticket. No, nothing was said. It was just, they came in, they got the signs, and they left. And it was just so weird and bizarre. You know what I mean? Like
And you guys aren't even thinking about it.
No, we're
Right.
thinking like, oh man, we got all this weed. You know, we're all underage. We're all drunk. We're all going to, get in trouble for this. And it was just like, guys, you can't steal signs.
Right.
It was like, that was all it was. Like, you can't steal road signs. We're going to come back and get our road signs. We're like, all right, well, okay.
But see, the good
My
news
bad.
is, if you didn't have the signs up, then you guys would have gotten popped for the weed.
Maybe.
And the underage. I think
I
they
don't know.
probably looked in the door and
I
said,
don't know.
Jesus Christ, let's deal with this.
Yeah, but because like one of these things, we have we have the 10 basically we have the 10 crimes that you would turn in your family member for. So a survey asked people about everything from
that's going to be dark.
from shoplifting to murder. What would you turn in
Yeah.
your family?
I
member
really only have
on
2.
Okay, well there's 10.
Well, like in your family that you know of?
No. I'm just saying. To me, there's like murder and like the other horrible thing. But other than that,
All right, well,
Sure,
but
sure, yeah,
But
yeah,
what's
like
the
that.
sorry, shoplifting. Go ahead, cuz.
But what's
Yeah, I don't
okay,
care.
shoplifting, right? We've all shoplifted, right?
Of course we have.
Yes.
Robin, you ever shoplifted? I mean, no.
Ice cream sandwich?
Nothing.
Nothing?
That was
even
not a
back
convincing
in the
no.
day.
I may or may not have had extremely sticky fingers at age 13.
Okay, all right. Mike Hawk, this is going to be curious as hell. Eagle Scout.
I know.
I mean, I can't think that you have ever done anything
I stole a bag of rice.
as ridiculous as steal something, have you? No, I can't hear him. He's
Mike?
Yeah.
Is he up?
No.
Robin?
No,
Oh, there
I
it
never.
is.
All right.
No, I've no.
Nothing?
Are you for real?
Never.
Yeah, I'm for real.
Even as a kid, man?
no,
Nothing.
You never just stole or shoplifted something.
no,
Never.
no.
Nothing.
No.
You were a little kid said, man, I want a bag of Skittles. The hell with it. I'm putting it in my pocket.
I walked right next to my parents as they shopped, hands in pockets. Otherwise, I'd get my ass whooped.
Huh. Okay.
Well, what about when you weren't with your parents?
Now you're a teen. You're hanging out with your friends. You can run in there and grab a soda.
I was at home doing homework.
Did you ever get in trouble?
Sure.
For?
What did you do to get in trouble? I'm curious.
Sometimes I lied.
What'd you lie about?
I don't know. I didn't want to get in trouble. I had accidentally, I broke something.
All right. Okay.
Mike, we're going to steal ice cream tonight.
Yeah, we are.
Mad.
I mean, it's like stealing an ice cream sandwich is part of every kid's growing up.
Yeah, you run it and you grab a drumstick and
teenagers.
just take off running.
Mike, we need to do a smash and grab with you, man.
Yeah, I know.
Feel the exhilaration.
Even if it's a setup. Even if the guy already knows, we walked in and paid for it ahead of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
That's
to
a good
give-
call.
Just to give you the thrill.
That'd be bad publicity.
It really would. Who knows?
Show them entry.
Who knows?
We're stealing ice cream.
It might work. God damn it, it might work. You never know how this industry goes. So I'll go through.
Hang on. Is Mike that good of a person, or are we just bad people?
I never know.
No.
And I like to think that Mike's just really good.
I'd
But
like
every
to
time
vote that Mike is just a really good person.
All right.
yeah, that's what I'd like to think.
Yeah, I skipped a college class or two when I was in college.
Oh, mercy. Get my fainting couch.
A little tired, didn't feel like going.
Wow, no way. You're probably out.
You're going straight to hell, Mike.
You're probably out late watching a movie or something.
All right, someone asked this. What about a grape?
A grape?
You're in the produce section. You're with your parents.
You can taste a grape.
There's a grape.
You can taste a grape, I think.
Only if I ask them if I can try it.
I think you can taste the grape.
Sometimes, some places, if you ask them if you can try it, they'll let you have one, and then you can test it for, if it's what you want.
The cheese guys are very good at that.
They are. They want you to buy
Apples
the
too,
cheese.
man. They'll cut into an apple for you.
Dude, my daughter, she doesn't do it now, but when she was younger, you'd go to buy produce, and at the moment that you're paying for it, right, you realize, like, she has bitten into 4 or 5 different apples. She's eating a tomato. You're just like, God damn it, man. I'm like, well, I guess I'll pay for those, too.
Now, okay, so we bring up we bring up shoplifting. Just so you know, 33% of the surveyed members said that they would turn in a friend or family member if they found out they shoplifted. That's 1 in 3.
I believe
they would
this to be
turn
true.
them in.
I
Turn
read
them
that
in.
stat. No, I read that stat, and I think you'll agree with me. I think that 33% are parents who realize their kid has stolen something. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine if my brother told me this. I don't care. Even if my mother said I stole this, I don't care. But if the kid lives under your roof and you find out they shoplifted, you have to teach that lesson.
Okay.
But if you take that out of the equation, assuming you don't hate this family member, I can't imagine anybody. You might say, dude, don't do that. But I wouldn't call the cops like, my brother took a Snickers bar from the Rite Aid.
My buddy, I have a buddy he loved, what the hell was it? Such a cheesy ass cologne, Polo by Ralph.
Oh,
It was in
yeah.
a green bottle, had a gold cap.
Yeah.
All right, they would have it at the equivalent of a Macy's Nordstrom. In our area, it was called the Bon Ton, at Bon Marché.
Yeah.
All these different ones, but they were all basically the same high-end department store that you know. And they'd have testers. And so Joel's deal was, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to take all these testers. So he would just, that was his thing.
Steal the testers.
He would steal the testers. He would steal the testers from the cologne section at the frickin' Macy's. That was his thing.
See, that's not so bad, though, because they're not selling those anyway.
I know that, but
You've
he still
stolen
he
it.
still stole
Right.
it. He still
It is
stole
stolen.
Like,
I
we
get
walked in,
it,
I was
but-
like, dude. He'd be like, yeah, man, I got a tester in my pocket. Like, God damn it. Like, that stuff, and I didn't want him to steal it because it smells so bad.
But it's like, I mean,
everything
Hey,
smells
she
like
stole Polo Sport.
Okay, so we all have,
If he's a thinking man.
We've all shoplifted or know someone who has shoplifted.
Sure, except
Okay.
Mike Hawk.
All right, so tax evasion.
I
don't-
doubt it. I mean, I can't imagine any one of my people in my family are dumb enough to have forgotten to file taxes, but no one makes enough money where it's worth
look,
it.
I don't know what the statute of limitations are on stuff, but I can tell you this right now. When I was young, I would do like television commercials and stuff. Okay, so I'd do voiceovers.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of money, but I needed money to buy weed. And so let's just say that there were a couple of production houses, they call them studios, and you would go there and they would pay you per spot.
Sure.
So I think I got $25 a spot.
Oh, living large.
I was just killing it back then. For 30 seconds, wow, I'm reeling the money in. But anyway, they would pay me in cash.
Oh, yeah, there's no chance you report.
No, I'm buying weed.
There's
Look,
no
if you've
chance.
ever worked a bar or in a restaurant, there's a good percentage chance
But that's
you didn't
tax
claim
evasion.
all your.
But that's because that's my
Yeah.
employer.
Nobody
It is, but it
claims
isn't. I mean,
all
like,
of their tips. You
that's what I'm saying,
claim
like,
enough in
I've
your
gotten-
tips to keep them from being suspicious. But
Yeah.
look, man, if that's a cash thing, like, don't be stupid and claim it. I don't need a goddamn
No,
know.
And to me, tax evasion has to be like
A little
Wesley
bit more
Snipes.
serious. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta
Okay,
you
all right.
gotta be doing like.
Do you know
millions.
anybody? Does anyone
I will
know
say
anybody?
this, though. My sister's a hairdresser, and whoever did her taxes didn't do them correctly with the tips and stuff, so she got hammered and had to pay back a bunch of taxes.
Okay, all right.
But also that's tough when you're.
But she wasn't trying to evade the tax.
No. She just
But they
certain
don't
jobs,
care.
right? Her job did not take the money out.
Right.
So the numbers just got screwed up.
I have a friend whose business is in the Caymans.
For good reason.
He does a lot of international sales, and he makes most of his money off of his website, and his business is in the Caymans, and it has been since the 90s.
Wouldn't you do it? I would do that in a heartbeat.
That's tax evasion, isn't it?
No,
It's not because they opened a
they
loophole.
legally let you do it.
Well, I know that, but God damn it,
No,
you're,
it's
you're
not-
evading taxes.
You're evading
But you
taxes.
got to talk to
But you're
IBM,
doing it
Google,
exactly.
GE.
But you're doing it legally.
Yeah, right.
So the
Yeah,
reason,
yeah, every
like,
one of
look,
them.
if you
All
had a business, if you own your own business and don't put your account in the Caymans, I'd call you a fool because the thing is, they made it legal because all the big boys do that to avoid paying all the scrap. Yeah, you're evading taxes, but legally. Dude, look
Yeah, I
at it
don't
like
think
this.
we don't know anybody rich enough to be able to do that.
It's like posting bond. Basically, it's an accepted bribe, right?
Right.
If you bribe a cop to get out of jail, they get mad at you. If they give you a figure, call it bond, then suddenly it's legal. Same goddamn thing.
35%. 35% said that they would turn in a relative or friend if they knew that they were guilty of tax evasion.
I don't care.
Okay. How about dealing pot?
No.
No, hell no.
I'll be a customer.
Yeah.
Come on.
Almost 50%. 50% said they turn in a family member or a friend to the cops if they were dealing pot.
Absolutely
Well,
not.
again, I think, granted, we live in a state where it's legal, so
Right.
I'd be like, I don't know why you're doing that. But second of all, I think,
Exactly.
I think the family member, again, depends on where you are in the family. Like,
gotta
again,
think-
like Throw State, if you're a parent and you find out your teenage kid's selling weed, you're probably going to teach them a lesson, turn them in. But
I would look. The lesson I would teach my kids with dealing weed is I'm going to smoke your stuff and you need to stop. But I'm not going to turn you in because it's going to be a harsher. You get treated much worse for pot than you need to. That's ridiculous. But shoplifting, then I have to turn you in because look, I know it's going to be a slap on the wrist because you're underage and you're stupid. You don't know that it is, but it's going to scare the bejesus out of you. And you know that I will take some responsibility for your actions, unless, of course, you're selling weed, in which case I do not hear you.
I think some people just
no
deal weed.
comprende inglés.
Some people just deal weed their whole life. Like they never don't not deal weed. I think my dad's dealt weed my entire life.
Because there was as access.
He always has weed and he always sells it. To his friends, just a couple different guys. They get in together and they buy some weed. And since they're older and they're in that group where you can't tell any of your peers basically that you smoke because they're all in their 60s and 70s.
But if I know a guy that always has weed and he knows that I know it, he knows I'm going to call him. So you just kind of become the dealer because you're like, look, man, I got 5 buddies that know I got a hookup.
But you'd think it would be like this guy who's like 18, 17, you think like weed dealer, like, all right, man, I got the stuff. And it's just like, basically it's a 70-some-year-old dude.
Yeah.
it's a huge marketplace for older people.
Sure, man.
Plus, like, I know people in my family that are older and have gotten sick, right? Like one guy had horrible cancer. But so he goes to chemo and all this stuff. And I mean, nothing made him feel better. So finally, I kept saying, other people,
Get some edibles.
Get an edible. Now he's like
Eating like crazy.
Oh, he's like a preacher for weed. He's telling everybody how great
he doesn't have to take that crap that's killing him.
Yeah, exactly.
And for the hundreds and hundreds of dollars that it is. We'll get more of the list coming up here. Our question, what happened that you didn't tell your parents at the time? 844-999-OLA.
Plus, for the record, if you're over 70 or something, you're already retired. Let them do what they want.
Why
exactly
does it matter?
Even if they shoplift, who cares?
Right. Let them do what they want. They've earned it.
But it is that way, man. If you're a kid or a really elderly person, you see him pocket something, an employee might run over and kick him out of the store, but they're not going to call the cops.
No.
But like between the ages of about 16 to 60, but you're going to jail.
Oh, 100%.
Because you're in that age where you get put it this way. If you can dress poorly and poop your pants and people give you a pass, you're pretty much safe to say anything you want and do anything you want, right? That's it.
Yep.
A little kid, he says something horribly inappropriate like, oh, it's okay. If an old person says it, oh, he's just old-fashioned.
I wonder if somebody out there's like, man, my grandma sells weed and shoplifts all the time. It's a nightmare. It's like living with a criminal.
Hold the line there. We got your calls
She's
coming
on
up.
tax evasion.
What happened that you didn't tell your parents at the time? 844-999-OLA. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Target Charge coming up since Spin. Today we get the 10 worst albums of all times. Ryan Castle on the way. Our question, what happened that you didn't tell your parents at the time? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Ryan. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
All right, so my story is back when it was about 15 years ago. It was 16 years ago, something like that. I was 16 years old. But me and my buddies were kind of roughhousing and whatnot in the house, and my dad had just bought this brand new painting of a couple of P-51 Mustangs flying over this German castle called Neuschwanstein. Which we used to live by.
All right.
Yeah. My buddy got bumped into that. The door swings, hits it, shatters the glass. Yeah, exactly. And my dad, he notices pretty much everything. He's a former drill instructor.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you know what I'm dealing with here. So we're freaking out, and my buddy is like, hey, we could take it to my parents' shop. We could probably pull one of the paintings off the wall. Maybe it'll match up. They owned an antique shop.
Okay.
So we drove 45 minutes to the next town, got a piece of glass fitted. They cut it. His parents did for us, and then I noticed there was a significant scratch in the paint.
Oh.
I was like, oh, crap, and his mom was like, oh, no worries. Pulls out this giant set, a whole bunch of colors, pastels, whatnot. Just touches it up. And so we get all this, and we have to, we are booking it down the highway because my dad's off work. He's coming home, and he's waiting to mount this picture. So we race back. We beat him by about 5-10 minutes, maybe. We put the painting right where it was. He puts it up. Never noticed.
He never noticed.
I actually told him. Yeah, I told him about 5-10 years later, and so he still has this painting. He walks up to the painting, and I show him, and he goes, "Wow, good job." Good thing you didn't tell me when this happened. I would have whipped your ass.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, certainly from a father's point of view, I'm thinking that would be my sentiment. Like you were smart not to tell me because I would have killed you, and you recognize it. But you were also crafty enough to get this taken care of before, and you did a good enough job. I didn't notice, and maybe people parent different ways, but I try to encourage my kids. Like, look, man. If you don't think I know, and you think the punishment for what you've done is going to be severe, don't offer up the information.
Yeah.
Like, if I find what you've done, it's like, right, you're going to get in trouble. You don't need to tell me.
What happened that you didn't tell your parents at the time? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
All right, gentlemen, my story, same thing. Long time ago, we had a hot babysitter, and she was so mean, but yet so hot. She wouldn't go outside, play with us, none of that stuff. She'd always tell our parents we did stuff, and rightfully so, but she was just mean, so we crafted this idea to get rid of her using the car that my father also adores as much as she did when she got the job. My dad had a 71 Chevelle SS that he had spent well before my time fixing and repairing. And she absolutely adored it, loved it so very much. So my older brother, 15 at the time, me 13, decided to take the car out for a spin. We were only going to like park it outside and be like, oh, look, she drove it. Haha. Well, my older brother got squirrely with it and we wrecked the car.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So on top of wrecking it, like, we didn't know how to get it home, so we left it. And we ended up getting home. We were there for like 3 or 4 hours. The babysitter just sitting on the couch doing nothing.
Hold on, we need to do a station identification. We got to hear the rest of the story, so just give us a second here. What happened that you didn't tell your parents at the time? 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.